From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Attorney General Austin Knudsen announces a record-breaking year for fentanyl seizures in Montana. I'm Kristen Merkel, and I'll tell you what the Missouri River Drug Task Force is saying about these seizures.
I'm Megan Thompson here in Philipsburg, and coming right up, we'll talk to a town councilman about why a resort tax is being added to the ballot this year.
Well, some names are just standouts amidst a group of athletes. MTN's Grace Lawrence had a chance to sit down with Bobcat Robert Ford III. We're going to have that story in about 7 minutes. Alrighty, it is 6:30 on this Friday morning. Jay McDonald and Matt Elwell with you. A beautiful sunrise coming over the Bridger Mountains and over the mining city as well, but it is chilly.
It's cold this morning, and we have had some patchy fog, not a ton, but enough that you might notice it as you're out driving.
Sure.
But our early morning temperatures, I think that's the big story as we're heading out this morning. Temperatures either single digits, low teens, or below zero.
Look
I know
at
that
West
doesn't
Yellowstone.
narrow it down a whole lot. Yeah.
Oh.
A balmy 15 below zero in
boy.
West this morning, 2 below this morning in Butte. Our skies are clear. We are going to warm pretty quickly, but along with that, it'll take some time to warm things up overall. But we are looking at full sunshine for the afternoon. It is gorgeous this morning. Cloudless skies, temperatures back into the mid-30s. We may see a few areas touch the 40s. The weekend's warming up, but we do have kind of a mess heading our direction early next week. I'll talk more about that in just a little bit.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Well, as the fentanyl epidemic continues to grow in Montana, law enforcement and political leaders say they are taking action. MTN's Kristen Merkel reports on an astonishing increase in fentanyl seizures in Montana.
Attorney General Austin Knudsen announces a record-breaking year for fentanyl seizures in Montana, and the Missouri River Drug Task Force says there is no end in sight.
A single dose can be fatal, especially if you don't know what you're getting.
Attorney General Austin Knudsen says there has been a 20,000% increase in fentanyl seizures in Montana since 2019. A total of 398,552 dosage units of fentanyl in Montana, and a 111% increase in the total amount seized in 2022, with 188,823 dosage units seized. Missouri River Drug Task Force Commander Nate Cameraman says the fentanyl is coming from Mexico.
We have found links directly from the southern border to here, and oftentimes, yes, we know that cartel is involved directly in the manufacture of fentanyl.
He says fentanyl is easily disguised.
We are beginning to see it cut into other drugs as well, which is scary because what you think you might have some cocaine, right? Know how much you can typically take on cocaine and be fine, and if there's fentanyl mixed in, that can be fatal.
Captain Cameraman says Gallatin County is seeing a lot of fentanyl due to its growing population. On a positive note, he says Narcan, the nasal spray that can reverse the effects of fentanyl, is more readily available than in previous years.
A lot of lives are being saved through that.
However, according to the Attorney General, fentanyl overdoses continue to rise. The state crime lab has preliminarily reported 80 overdose deaths involving fentanyl in 2023. In 2017, there were just 4. This number only reflects deaths that involve an autopsy. AG Knudsen says, please never take a pill that isn't prescribed to you, and talk to your children about the dangers of drugs. Just one pill can take a life. In Bozeman, Kristen Merkel, MTN News.
And a Butte man is facing several felonies in connection with a crime spree involving multiple businesses in Butte over the past 2 months. Robert Rich is charged with robbery in the February 29th holdup at the Rocker Inn just west of Butte. He allegedly threatened the clerk with a gun, or what appeared to be a gun, and left with an undisclosed amount of cash. He's also charged with the January 20th theft at Universal Athletics off Harrison Avenue, and a February 18th burglary at Riddle's Jewelry in the Butte Plaza Mall. Plus, Rich is charged with theft in connection with stealing nearly $5,000 worth of tools from Patriot Buildings in Butte. He remains jailed on a $1 million bond. And last night, President Biden delivered a fiery State of the Union address before a divided Congress and the American public, less than 8 months before November's general election. Scripps News congressional correspondent Stephanie Liebergen has our report.
Thursday night, President Biden touted his administration's wins before a joint session of Congress, but he also put lawmakers on notice and stressed the role they need to play in solving the problems facing the country.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
In his high-profile State of the Union address, President Joe Biden laid out a vision for the country that he hopes will earn him a second term in November, and much of the night was focused on domestic issues.
America cannot go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come.
He told Congress he's going to continue to try to reduce costs for Americans across the country.
They enacted tax credits of $800 per person per year, reduce health care costs for millions of working families. That tax credit expires next year. I want to make that savings permanent.
One big piece of foreign policy news, President Biden announced the U.S. military will establish a new port in Gaza that can receive large shipments of food, water, medicine, and shelter. A move that could help quiet some of the administration's critics who are unhappy with how the White House has handled the Israel-Hamas war. But for some of the biggest issues facing the country, immigration reform, border security, gun violence, President Biden stressed that it's Congress that needs to act.
We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it. Send me the border bill now.
Up next, President Biden and his cabinet will take this message on the road, and that starts with a presidential visit in Philadelphia on Friday. Stephanie Liebergen, Scripps News, Washington.
And a little bit closer to home, Philipsburg is struggling with major infrastructure woes. Now, the cost to fix the problems is estimated to be around $100 million. And MTN's Megan Thompson reports that town officials are now considering a 4% resort tax to raise that infrastructure money.
With its quaint shops, historic buildings, and even an award-winning brewery, the town of Philipsburg, established in 1890, is a favorite getaway for tourists in summer and winter months. But some residents say that the infrastructure is outdated and even dangerous. So town leadership is proposing a resort tax.
I want the tanks to fill up when you flush the toilets. And I want the water to be dependable, and I want it to be clean, and I want it to, nothing to be wrong with it. But these things cost money.
This stuff's got asbestos in it.
Scott Lyons is one of 5 council members tasked with fixing infrastructure problems, including a drinking water transmission line that consists of a patchwork of pipes dating from World War I and II. But stormwater runoff and the town's sewer system also need big updates.
On West Broadway, every year we have potholes, and they used to be the size that could break an ankle, and now they could hide half a Subaru.
In all, Scott estimates the cost to fix the infrastructure is close to $100 million. So the council is floating a 4% resort tax.
There's only so many ways that we can do this because we just don't have the money. So we can raise water rates and we can raise sewer rates, but you can only do that so much because there's only so much people can afford. Or we can get other people to help, especially other people that are impacting the system.
The city council, I give them credit for wanting to undertake these projects in a timely manner, and I understand the need for revenue to support that. But in reality, they're trying to squeeze a turnip here by taking that money out of our hands.
In Philipsburg, Megan Thompson, MTN News.
Thank you very much, Megan. Now, we may not be in the locker room, but we're going to be talking a little sports right now. Now, some names are just a standout on an athletic programs team. And MTN's Grace Lawrence had the chance to sit down with Bobcats' Robert Ford III, and she has our story.
MTN Sports' Grace Lawrence here outside the brick, and the name Robert Ford III has now become synonymous with Bobcat basketball. The redshirt senior guard capped off an all-Big Sky type of regular season with an electric 76-64 win over Weber State. He was dialed into the game in the moment, but now he's had some time to reflect, and this place, this program, this community, well, they just mean more.
Once the night was over, then it kind of hit me that, okay, this is the last one. This is the, the moment that I thought would never come. And now that it's here, it came too soon. I love Bozeman, I love the fans, I love everything about it.
Ford has a special bond to the community around Montana State. He spends his off days connected with youth sports in town, cheering or coaching the next generation.
He's a giver, and that's what you see when you talk about people being honored on senior night. You don't get honored for things that you receive. You get honored for things that you give, and Rob has given his time, he's given his heart.
When I was a kid growing up, any athlete that would give me a high five during the game or talk to me or just give me a smile, that makes their day. It makes them want to come back to games.
Now reflecting back on the journey of the regular season, he's led a team that's earned a 5 seed and a bye in the Big Sky tournament.
At times we were not ranked to be one of the good teams or one of the top teams to have a bye. And looking at it now, we put all that behind us and just played.
Ford's focused on the now, but after finishing his collegiate career, he'll go pro.
I want to be a professional athlete, and I think I have all the right guidelines and all the right people in my life to help me figure out what that is after all this is done. So
he's opened those doors for himself in a big way, being here at Montana State, and so we'll help him navigate that process this spring and get connected to the right agencies and people that can help him navigate that world.
In Bozeman, Grace Lawrence, MTN Sports.
Thank you very much, Grace. Now, we're going to take a short break here on Montana This Morning, but when we come back, with spring comes spring cleaning, and we're going to give you some tips from the pros to help you on your way.
I'm John Mattery. Springtime means spring cleaning, but so many of us have so much stuff, we don't know where to begin. We have some expert advice from a professional organizer to help you out coming up.